Lucio beat drop is probably one of the most misused ultimates in the game. Hell, even me, somebody who's peaked at rank 1 with Lucio, messes it up sometimes. But when used well, it's one of the most impactful and game-winning ultimates. So do not worry, my fledgling frog mains. I'll teach you almost everything there is to know about beat drop in this video. Sound barrier or beat drop costs nearly 2,600 points of healing and damage, making it the most expensive ultimate in the game. But the effects of the ultimate still make it worth it, as it grants temporary overhealth for Lucio and nearby allies. The shields total out to 750 temporary extra health, and these shields last for 7 seconds and a decay at a rate of 125 shields a second. So be careful when you cast this ultimate, as it goes by pretty quickly. It takes about 0.7 seconds to cast and about 0.8 seconds to be able to shoot and use abilities again. So you're locked into using this ability for just under 2 seconds. When you ult, it's a commitment, so don't doubt yourself, or that can lead to some problems. The cast time can be lengthened by your starting height, so be aware of where you beat, as this can create for some pretty scary situations where you can't seem to hit the ground. So try to start somewhere lower than where you were going to use it, like a small ledge or next to the payload. Unlike other characters, Lucio cannot charge his ultimate during beat drop and a couple of seconds afterward as well, so only use your cooldowns if you absolutely have to right after a beat. After using Sound Barrier, you have a half a second window to move into LOS, line of sight, of whoever needs it. This means you can corner peek with this ultimate and play safe while also saving your team. This ultimate also gets blocked by enemy shields, but you can move past the barrier and save your teammates both inside and outside the shield if you are fast enough. Okay, before I move on to the next section, an extra tip. Lucio's beat drop actually gives him a little bit of extra airtime, so using this in tandem with some wall rides can help you cross some gaps you otherwise couldn't and possibly save a teammate. Okay, we all know that beat drop is a tricky ultimate to use optimally, as you will mainly be using beat drop as a defensive ability, so most players are forced to be passive and react to the enemies and their ultimates. But I recommend sometimes going on the offensive and communicating with your team and telling them to push while you beat. This is a common play in higher elo, as it provides safety for your team when pushing into the enemy. It creates so much free space. But it's underutilized by a ton of the player base. You can outright win objectives with beat alone. But as every rank and each individual match have different win conditions, I can't really go over every possible play with beat. I'll just go over what Lucio beat can save you from and what can stop a beat drop. Ryan Shatter is an easy one. Just try to be on a wall or high ground while he's shattering and beat right after to save your team from the cleanup and a potential pin. Sombra EMP used to hard counter Lucio beat, as it gave temporary shields, but since then, Lucio beat drop now provides temporary health. You can beat before an EMP and protect your team, but I still suggest hiding behind some cover, and when you think a Sombra is going to EMP, you just come right out and beat for your team. Nano Blade is dangerous, and it's probably the most obvious thing to beat drop for in Overwatch. But please do not wall ride too high when you're up against this combo, as good Genjis will just delete you out of the sky with the slash dash combo. So just try to stay low and beat when you hear the Genji pull out his blade. Next is D.Va Bomb. Yes, you heard me correctly. You can actually use beat drop to counter D.Va's bomb.
I am probably dead. I'm not.
But your timing has to be phenomenal. D.Va Bomb does 1000 damage near the epicenter, and the damage starts to fall off rapidly as you go out. So position yourself a couple of meters away and beat when you start to see the mech turn white and when the guns start to be sucked in. But even with perfect timing, beat only gives 750 shields, so 200 HP targets would only have a maximum of 950. So be cautious when you are going for this play, as it is quite dangerous. Junk Tire is an easy ultimate to counter with beat, but be aware that good Junkrats will just wait out your ultimate and detonate after the shields are gone, so either break it when you can or just get out of there. Beat drop lasts just about as long as Tactical Visor, pretty much countering this entire ultimate, but if a soldier singles out one person on your team, he can shred them, even more so if he's nanoed. Barrage is a tricky ultimate to counter with beat drop. You have to predict when the Pharah is going to ult, and then you have to immediately get out of there, as the DPS on Barrage is insane. So beat and skedaddle. If you use beat drop for Torbacoom, don't stand in it for too long, as it lasts way longer than a beat drop does. Reapers like to run at your team before they ult, so boop them right before you beat to make sure you'll land it. Also, don't worry, boop into beat is an animation cancel, almost making it instant. When a Sigma uses Gravitic Flux, you can actually beat mid-flux and protect your team. I recommend ulting at the apex of this ultimate to ensure you have some health left over when it's finished. For Deadeye, just beat when he starts and get the hell out of there. Cassidy's damage ramps up fast, and even a beat drop won't save you if he holds it. Alright, be wary, because this tip is for those who are confident in their skills, as Lucio Beat only takes 0.7 seconds to cast from the level ground, and Tracer Pulse Bomb has travel time and a 1-second explosion timer. You could react to a Tracer pulsing a teammate. By the way, never ever jump before casting Beat Drop, as that increases the cast time and could lead to moments like this. Hanzo's Dragon Strike does ludicrous damage over time, and even with a full Beat Drop, you won't survive it in its entirety. But it is possible to survive if you take a really risky maneuver and ult while the dragon is already hurting you. This is usually best done when the enemy team is doing a grab dragon combo, so time it well and you will survive. Ulting for Bob is a good idea, but don't stand there and take it, as Bob lasts much longer than a Beat Drop does. Watch out for these ultimates, as they'll cancel Beat Drop 90% of the time. Do not Beat Drop near corners when a Winston with Primal Rage is nearby, because you're never ever gonna touch the ground. The same can be said with Roadhog and his Whole Hog. Try to not be facing Ashe when she's using Bob, as Bob knocks you up and locks your movement in the air for a couple of seconds. Both Sombra's EMP and Hack are annoying to deal with when you're playing Lucio, as they can both cancel Beat Drop. So be aware of your surroundings when you're facing off against her. Now let's rapid fire through these last ones. Reinhardt Pin, Reinhardt Shatter, Roadhog Hook, Sigma's Rock, Orissa's Javelin, Doomfist's Punch, and lastly, Ana's Sleep Dart. When facing off against these aforementioned characters, be vigilant of when their cooldowns are up, as they can potentially lose you the entire game. If I didn't mention an ultimate or ability in this guide, it is either a really niche interaction with Beat Drop, it does nothing to your team, or it's up to you to make the call to use Beat Drop. For example, Junker Queen's ultimate inflicts anti-heal, which makes it so you can't heal your teammates, and they could get dangerously low without any healing. So you could A, speed them away and protect them like that, or B, use Beat Drop. This is a decision you'll have to make on the fly. Going even further, let's say you did speed your team away, thus saving them from that ultimate, but then the enemies used a Nanoblade to try to finish the game off, but you were expecting that and used Beat to save the match. These split-second decisions are ultimately what separates bad and good Lucios. So I hope this video has helped you improve on Lucio, even if it was just a little. I don't really do this type of content, and it would be appreciated if you liked the video and commented either what you learned or what you want to learn about Lucio. I've been your host, Ayo Echo, and I'll see y'all next time.